Hi guys. Hey, since we won't all be making it to the meeting tonight, I thought I'd put out a quick little video showing the new indicator I'm working on, and this indicator right here, which I call PT Total Ticks Tracking, and very simply, the way it works is it's total ticks. Is if you remember, these gold bars are upticks and the red bars are down ticks, and you can see you can't see behind the gold bars, but then in the red bars you can see that there were that many upticks as opposed to that many downticks. So now the main thing about it is that you have these also dark brown bars and green bars. And the way that you use this is you look at it is that you go ahead and format it. And over here, you can change the look back period to 331. Let's say you put the look back period at 31. Okay, so this is how it looks if you were looking at 31 bars. Now, let's change that to 13 bars. So now this is how the total ticks look is if you're looking at it from 13 bars. Now, the other thing you can do when you format it is that it has this displacement. So we're looking at 13 bars back. So since that's lagging, let's displace it like to 10. If you displace it by a positive number, it shifts it to the left, and if you displace it by a negative number, it shifts it to the right. So we're going to shift this to the left, and we'll click OK here, and you can see how the shifting occurs here. So then let's take that off, and let's make this 3 bars, and let's make this a 0 displacement. So this is basically how it looks like in real time with just 3 bars. Now again, let's go back to the format screen. We can see that the red bars, that's actually, down bars, which are dark brown, they're correlated to the red bars, which are 2.8, and I'll explain that in a minute. And the green bars here are correlated to the up bars, and that's also 2.8. And what that indicates, what that indicates is that on this bar here, there were 2.8 more downticks than upticks. And on the next green bar, there were 2.8 more upticks than there were downticks. Now, I use these bars here as well to indicate maybe some type of a turning point, either actually coming in or going out of that position, so that if you look at like this indicated more downticks, well, you can see that on the momentum that the price momentum was already at the bottom, and then the upticks started to come in. So this would be more likely we trade this to the upside, and I did trade here to the upside. Then over here, if we look at this green bar, we then look down below and we see that on this white bar up here of the candle, it was right at this point, so that price had come up to the on the momentum bar, the trade momentum, and then started to come back down. So these bars will often indicate when to to which direction to trade in, actually. So you can see that this one indicated that the price had turned to the downside. We saw the next two positive bars, and then the large red-green bars came in. So I took a trade right there to the downside just for a couple points. Now, we can also see, remember, I've shifted these around. This is short-term momentum here, and then this is supply and demand here. But we can, if we look at this from the whole picture of it, or the full screen, we can see that the day started off at 9:30 here, and it was in the bottom part of it was in the supply side, and it's just going laterally. And we see that also in the movement of price up here as a total. We can see that the market is not moving very much. But again, the way that you want to look at these things is that if you're going to, this will tell you the total ticks, so you're tracking that. These two will, the dark brown and the green, will tell you when you're running into some type of extreme. You combine reading this and reformat it every so often to take a longer view, like the 31 or the 13. Then you can also displace it to see, well, where might that have incepted the move and everything. And then also, of course, you're going to read it along with the effort indicator up here. And then we saw the effort coming into the downside. Then you have the other indicators down here of the candle and the momentum that you're familiar with. And so we see here that the short-term trend is a bit different looking than the supply and the demand, although from this point back they looked very similar, although at different places in the chart. This was below the lower bound, whereas in the supply and demand it was just in the lower channel, the supply channel. And then it just crossed over here, not because of any price movement per se, but simply because the supply and the demand had shifted, and it just went laterally, rising above into the supply side. So for instance, if I were reading it right now, the first thing I'd do, I'd say, what's the long-term outlook? And it would go to 31, and there I'd see, the long-term outlook kind of looks negative. It kind of looks bearish here with all the red. Even though price has been going up, I'm not convinced that that's a strong up move, especially with all these reds. So it's a smaller amount of effort gaining a larger reward of pushing prices up. And we see again that this, whichever side it's on, whether it's the downticks or upticks, the effort reward, it's just not moving the market a whole lot, because we can see that the day is staying, around 5 points, something like that. So I take the longer view, and then I go back. I take the intermediate view of 13 here and see what that's doing. And again, that doesn't strike me as being positive, even though this has gone up. And so now I see a green bar here. Now, the thing you got to be aware of on these bars is wait till they finish forming. So this is right at this doji right here, but further price movement could change it to red or gold. whichever. But if it stays green, then I'd look down here. Remember, this is 250, 500, and this is the 1500, and I look to see what the position is in of price in these time frames of the 250 and the 500, and then the 1500 to see if it's rather going to go up or down. So on the 1500, we see that the price momentum is at the bottom, but the trade momentum is moving down. On the candle, we see the body is above the price here. I'm sure that's not what I call it. What did I call it? The body and the shadow. Okay, so we see that the body is below the shadow here. And we have the color variations that kind of agree here. So if I were looking here, I might be, and you see how that green candle changed. I might be looking for a green candle to indicate that it's going to go up, but it probably would be preceded by a dark brown candle here to show that you had 2.8, and you can change that to whatever number you want. 2.8 more down ticks than up ticks, which would indicate a type of exhaustion point. And so I would be looking for a dark brown here saying, well, they exhausted to the downside, this move down here. Or I'd be looking for a green bar, Other than that, you can read it just as you normally would as well, saying, well, the predominance seems to be favoring the down ticks, and also the effort is to the downside, although that's kind of decreasing now to the flat line here, or to the 0 point right there. So any rate, I was just making this quick video, and this is what we'll be going over in the meeting tonight. And I will get this indicator out to everybody in case you want to use it within a couple of days. So that's it. Hope you have a great week, and talk to you later.